And getting a little bit more details into this, what we'll do is we'll launch the NTOP portal here so that I can start to talk through some of these pieces. But NTOP, as I kind of mentioned before, it's a traffic analysis tool. So what it does is it provides you a snapshot of your current network analysis or network statistics. So once you log into the NTOP application, of course, I've always had inside of my NTOP application is a monitoring port that I'm actually able to allow for all types of connections into NTOP. And basically, I'm spanning a port onside my Catalyst switch to be able to do this. So looking at NTOP, and the first screen that we look at when we look at NTOP is basically this global traffic statistics screen. What you're able to see here is a very good glimpse into what types of traffic that we have, and this is really a traffic report that we've generated for the interface that is connected into my switch from my OnPlus. So you're able to see quite a bit of information. I know it might be a little bit hard to see here, but I'll definitely kind of try to spend a little bit more time walking through the details. But you're able to see packet sizes, and it gives you a good sense of what the different breakout for those packets are. So, for example, understanding what unicast, broadcast, or multicast packets are, packet sizes, and so forth. And it gives you a nice visual depiction via the pie charts. It's a lot of good information here, and there's a lot of good detail here in terms of the amount of types of traffic, the protocol breakdowns, and all that stuff. But one of the questions I get all the time is basically, how do I use a lot of this information, right? This is good information to have, but basically, if I'm taking a look at this, a lot of the times this is a little bit more overloading than anything for me. So, one way to use this type of traffic is, and this is kind of how I've always suggested to folks, up at the summary tab here, there's actually a network load option. So if I go to my network load option, what I'm able to bring down is basically some load statistics that I have that are being generated inside my network. So for example, I'm able to see, and this kind of goes back into the different types of ways that I am actually collecting the data and storing the data, but I'm able to see, for example, the last 10 minutes of throughput, the last hour of throughput, my current day of throughput, as well as my monthly throughput. But looking at this information, I can start to see trending capability or trending mechanisms that are occurring inside my sites, right? So for example, if you have a customer that wants to understand maybe why during lunchtime I always get a peak of traffic and so forth, and what type of traffic is what traffic is occurring during those time frames, and what can I do about it? So in this case, maybe I'm looking during my noon hour and I'm seeing a peak throughput in this case, right? It's not much traffic, but it's a little bit of traffic, and we'll look into kind of what's going on here, right? So 1225, I see a little bit of peak of traffic. Let's go look at what that type of traffic is. So clicking on the actual bar chart, I'm able to bring down another level of detail in terms of my network load and what those statistics look like. So for example, I'm able to look at the different sampling periods. Font might be a little bit small here, but I'll definitely kind of talk through this. We're looking at different time periods, right? And this goes down to the granular level of minutes. And what I'm able to do is be able to take the level of detail I'm getting per my sampling period and be able to tie that to the different type of hosts that are sending that type of data. So I'm looking here and I'm maybe seeing, in this case, I have a specific host that is going to be sending quite a bit of traffic here, right? So maybe he's sending, let's say, 20K of traffic or more than that. But if I'm looking at the different types of traffic, I'm able to now go one level deeper into my host level details. And looking at my host level details, I'm able to kind of pull another level of detail from that, right? So when I'm looking at the different types of protocols I'm sending, or in this case, it may be the different types of peers that I'm also sending to and from. So in this case, if, for example, if somebody was looking at YouTube all day long while, during their lunch hour, we'll be able to see who that last contacted peer was, and YouTube, Facebook may show up in that sense. So we're able to kind of go deeper, and we use this tool as more of an investigative tool to be able to take the information and analysis that is occurring inside the network and be able to pull and extract that out and do our investigative work to be able to understand what occurrences might be happening or what trending mechanisms might also be affecting the network. So there's quite a bit of good information inside NTOP and how and much we can pull from it. So definitely this is kind of a pretty important tool to be able to use to understand what's going on in the network. I mentioned a little bit earlier that there's different types of also capabilities we can take a look at in greater detail, including, for example, host fingerprinting, being able to see what types of hosts that are out there, right? Whether they're Macintosh or they're Apple hosts, That might be even, in this case, in Cisco clients and so forth, right? So we're able to pull back a lot of that information and be able to kind of understand what is going on in the network in that sense.